Life in Letters.
The presenting sponsor of My Life in Letters is SprayPlanet.com. This is where you go to get everything MTN colors, be it 94, hardcore, whatever it is, go check them out. They're also the distributor of Crink products, Posca markers, and Grog inks. So go check out SprayPlanet.com right now, order something, and go make your mark. But without further ado, let's get into this next episode. My Life in Letters.
No, stop.
What?
Adam, this is my show today. This is my show. I don't know if you're starting this off with as your show. This
Damn.
is not how it's going.
You're right.
My Life in Letters. My Life in Letters. We're here today. I'm your host, Amuse 126.
Oh, damn.
We're ending the season with me hosting.
Yeah, this is episode 52. Fucking A.
Yep. Say goodbye to 2017.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess in a way we'll still... Actually, you might be right. The next episodes may not come out until 2018, but there's a possibility that we'll do our first, after the rebrand, the first episode might be this year, but you got it basically right, dude. A year of episodes coming to an end. And yeah, dude, I thought it was just an awesome idea to have you come in. We're friends. I totally admire your work. It's like, it seemed perfect. And it was your idea. I'm going to put that out there right now. I didn't ask him to do it. This was his idea.
I asked.
You did.
I was like, give me a reason to talk for another hour.
Dude, which I think is cool, because I'll tell you right now, I bet you a lot of people are just kind of itching to hear more, you know, because you're just like, you keep soaring, you know, but people can't always hear from you. So it's cool.
The most important thing is people need to hear from you at this point. There's a lot of people that I know are still like, who's that? What's he's done? And
I
and
guess so.
Man,
And you know
you're
what?
one of the reasons I'm doing what I do. So there's a lot of things we need to talk about.
That's
today.
amazing, actually, just to think about that kind of, if that's true, which I'm just going to say it is true. That's amazing, right?
A-team, baby.
Dude, the A-team. And, you know, people forget about how much you can influence others. And I know a lot of like kind of OG dudes who are a little grumpy and sit back and they're not like, people don't talk about them, but it's like, dude, because of you paved the way. So if I had a part in that, in your story, I'm honored.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I come from a ton of West Coast influence. So I really, the things you were doing out in San Francisco were just incredible to me. So I really was a fan, and
Dude,
I'm glad that we turned it into a friendship today.
Me too. Like, that's just like really, what's that called? Not collateral. Well, collateral beauty. I saw that written down somewhere the other day. And like, yeah, dude, I think, those years in SF, like, I am glad that you saw it, because I worked my ass off, and people may think this shit is easy to just like bomb and go all city in whatever city you're in. And it's like, no, it's fucking hard, you know?
Yeah. And this is mainly the 90s we're talking about. 90s in San Francisco really offered some crazy,
dude, it was the best.
Just crazy.
It was so much fun, you know? And so, yeah, you know, I wasn't raised in the city. I grew up in the South Bay. So like in the heart of the Silicon Valley. We were talking about this. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, in, I'll just say it, 1976, our bicentennial, born in Cook County Cook County Hospital, and then moved to the Silicon Valley in Sunnyvale, California in 1979.
Crazy.
Yep. And so I have Chicago roots, which I love that city.
Which is a reason we connected. The Chicago thing brought us together.
That's right. And so then, which by the way, spending time with you guys last week was like amazing. You guys host like none other. You guys are the
We
best.
can't even talk about that over the air.
Oops, never mind. That shit is secret. And
no, we had a damn good time.
Oh, it was so much fun. And yeah, dude, I just love Chicago. It's a great city. And I also love the Bay, you know? And so yeah, I really was raised in the South Bay. But after it was around high school time that I moved up to the city, or I started spending all my time in the city because I went to high school up there. So
very cool. Give me a little help paint a picture of what was going on in San Francisco at the time. What were you up to? What helped make you you?
Yeah, geez, dude, that's interesting to say. Single mom, fucking dad died when I was 5. That certainly has made me who I am. But like, and also in that same time, like that early 80s era actually was when I got introed to like, I guess it was hip hop culture, because I saw movies like Breakin' and Beat Street. Those were just like kind of pushed on us in 84-ish, right around that time. And so those were about dancing and about like other things, but I saw graffiti in those. And for sure, I mean, what I don't have a recollection at 84 of trying it. We b-boyed. Like my sister and I would walk around our neighborhood and like try to battle people, like our little suburban neighborhood. We would like walk around we walk around with a roll of linoleum under our arms, like we were hot shit. And we would just like throw it down on someone's driveway and just like pose and wait for the kids to come out and battle. We were so sick with it. But like I know in about 88, because I have a book, and around 88, I was doing like bubbly letters on paper. And but I was seeing a lot of people, and this has come up in the podcast a lot. It's really interesting. Girls at my elementary school were doing these bubble letters. I don't know where they got their bubbles from, but they had a ton of graph quality to them. I don't know how this happened all over the Bay and other places, but a lot of older elementary school girls were doing these bubbles on paper. So I started doing bubbles on paper. So like really, I was trying to make graffiti in 88.
Because whatever the girls were doing, Adam had to do, right?
Still to this day, same shit. Yeah, that's me. I'm an ill feminist. But yeah, that was, and it's so interesting how that's come up from a lot of different people. But again, also the media, like there were certain movies. I never saw any books. I did see something on like PBS, which is our like local, or the Bay Area's like public access kind of channel. And PBS, I must have seen clips of something like Style Wars. Apex mentioned another documentary that he saw that was short that he saw on PBS in the mid 80s. And it might've been that, but I just kept seeing little things. But it wasn't until 92 when I started going to School of the Arts in San Francisco as a junior in high school that I like actively put up a tag and knowing what I was doing. But I was commuting. I was taking the Caltrain from basically San Jose area, an hour north to San Francisco to go to school every day.
When you actively started putting up these first few tags, what was the name or message or word you were trying to go with?
And I was just totally ready to like fuck shit up. Like that was the goal. I thought that was the point of graffiti, was to just fuck shit up.
Now, is that inspired by what you're seeing on the street or bus hopper stuff?
I think fucking shit up was just, I was an angry, 15, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And so then I get to...
You're still impersonating older girls at this time.
Nice, dude. That's a classic line. That is classic. Yes. And so actually, no, I don't know what I was like really hippied out by the time 92 came around. I was like smoking weed every day, taking hallucinogenics, listening to Bob Marley every day, and wearing kind of bummy hippie looking clothes, which was kind of pretty popular in the Bay Area in 91, 92, like very popular, I should say. Big oversized pants and just kind of dirty. And I got to Frisco and there were some hippie kids in my school, but most of the cool kids were like wearing Dickies and Pendletons and like derby jackets, and they were clean, Nike Cortezes, or but Doc Martens were really big. And like everybody at School of the Arts, I kid you not, man, of the 400 something students there, like 300 were writers. I'm not even exaggerating. Like our little ass school was just chock full of taggers, and it was great.
Crazy.
It was great. I mean, it was unbelievable. And everybody,
just a breeding ground for it.
It was. And because it was just like a thing, and bus hopping was the thing. And I came from the South Bay. I had no idea about that culture at all. I didn't know anything about SF graph culture. Well, that's not true, because I guess I used to come up to the city every Sunday in the probably starting in 89. I'd come up every Sunday, and I had family up there. My aunt. And so, but I'd go up for other reasons too. And so I would see stuff. I would see like Dream Pieces and Fours, and I saw Psycho City, but it was just a blur. I didn't know what any of it meant, until I get there in 92 to start at a new high school. Because my high school down in the South Bay was just hella gangster. There were like drive-bys, there was a riot, there were multiple stabbings, all in like the first semester of my sophomore year. And my mom was like, this is fucked up. And she found this arts high school. So I transferred. And yeah, dude, like I said, everybody was writing, and you like walk out of school after school at Soda. First of all, you tried not to get punked, because there would be dudes from other schools and girls, like gangsters, that would come down to our little art school to try to jack us for shit, take your money, take your shoes, whatever, take your markers. So like first you had to get out of school. But then like whole mobs of kids would jump on to, we used to jump the N Judah, the little the little quote unquote subway in SF.
That was the first line I rode on my trip.
Oh, really? Nice.
In Judah.
Nice. Yeah.
Shout out to the old DE house.
Nice. Dope. And so, yeah, that was our train. And I'll never forget, actually, the first time I got on with probably 6 or 7 dudes from my school who didn't like me at all. I was not liked. I was like obviously the suburb dorky hippie, not fitting in, didn't have any of I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to be, and I mean, there's a way to be when you're bombing, when you're bussing.
Yeah.
I had knew none of, I was a sore thumb but they still took me. And yeah, dude, you're just like on this bus and then out of nowhere, everybody just knows it's a good time. The bus is turning, so the driver can't see the second half of the train because it's bent at a 90-degree angle, right? And that's when all these markers, ultra wides, SGs, they all just came out and would just wreck the whole back half of that and Judah. And then we'd all just jump off and walk a couple blocks up and catch whatever the 6 Parnassus or whatever the bus was. And that was the real intro of like active bombing for me that I'd ever seen. And it was beautiful. Crazy. It was beautiful, dude.
So this is marker time. This is tagging,
all
being
markers.
An idiot. What got spray paint in your hand? Obviously, it starts to progress, but what was happening with this?
That's a good question. I don't remember how. Okay, I know that in Sunnyvale, where I was again going back to every day on the train, there was Orchard Supply Hardware, which they made their own paint. Apparently, they still do. I was just talking with. Oh damn, I'm slipping. One of my interviewees. Oh, it was Jabber. The homie Jabber was talking about that Orchard Supply Hardware still makes their own paint, but they used to make beautiful cans. It was all pastels because it was the 90s. Everything was pastel-y, but they made their own paint and it was mad easy to rack, even though it was $1, like maybe it was $1.99 regular price, but we racked it all. And so Orchard Supply was where I first started getting cans, but then I knew guys at school like Misk and Scar, and I'm trying to think of some of the other guys that had cans, because those two in particular, they just had like paint. Like Misk was being kind of mentored a little bit by Crayon, and he just knew that you have to have paint. I went to Misk's house the first time and I had never seen like someone with 50 or 60 cans kind of organized by colors. I had never seen that. It was beautiful. And like, so those guys probably introed me to paint, but my first piece I did solo. So I must have been racking my paint in the South Bay, where, living with my mom. And then, because my first piece I did was down there, down near Stanford University. So yeah. And then I wrote coffin, I think, because I was such a smoker of everything: pot, BDs, cloves, cigarettes. It was just fucking gross, dude, how much I smoked. I was like always coughing, I think. So COFN was like the tag that I picked up first. And I wrote that. I did a cough piece, COF, which I'm actually going to send you a flick of it after this, and I should share it since I'm talking about it. It's fucking terrible, but I got the flicks. And I remember doing it at like 9:00 at night. It's on the Caltrain sound wall. You can kind of see it from Central Expressway, which is this little kind of, little expressway right next to it. I remember feeling mad, scared. I did it solo, but I went back the next day to catch flicks, and it was, you know how it is. Best feeling ever.
Yeah.
First piece.
Cool feeling.
Yeah. And that was probably, late 1992. Late 92.
Coffin, COFN. Did that have a little orphan?
Thank you.
From it?
And thank you. We have had this conversation. So you're a good host, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
Dude. You're good.
Come on.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we fired Adam for season 2.
Yo, takeovers could be ill, dude. I'm enjoying this a lot. I'm enjoying you being in the hosting chair. Hell yeah. Orphan, who then later became a friend, in that South Bay area, starting from about where I did my piece, Palo Alto. Maybe they went a little further south, like Mountain View, up to where it turns out they were from, which was like the Millbrae, Burlingame area, which is just up the peninsula. As you keep going towards Frisco from where I am at, you would go right through their community. US Crew was just like, they were putting shit on Smash. I was seeing it a lot in 90 and 91, definitely 91. I was seeing a lot of these orphan tags, Oxy tags, Amaze tags, Olds, Reverse, Marvel. Those names were the first names that I connected to something kind of all city-ish, because you'd go to Frisco, you'd see Dream and Spy and all those big names up there, of course, but you'd never see them down in the sticks, down in the suburbs, down the peninsula, never.
Right.
But these cats, US crew, they were running shit from the South Bay to Frisco at that time. They were up everywhere. I mean, it was all streaker tags and fat cap tags. Like I didn't see fill-ins and pieces from US. They were just like, turns out to just be like skater bomber kids, but they inspired Orphan. He inspired so much on me. And that guy, Oxy, Oxy, he had the illest fat cap one. Like this was a 2 flow, the way he did it. And to this day, actually, some of the O's that I sometimes do in like my script, if I'm doing cursive, it looks just like an Oxy O. So shout out to that guy. I never met him, never heard anything about him. And shout out to Aaron Curry, Orphan, for passing away. Like that's rest in peace. Like it was devastating to have that guy die of cancer last year. And oh god, was it this year? I don't even know. There's been too many. But yeah, dude. Shout out to Aaron, and he inspired a multitude of people.
No, he did. Every trip I was out to San Francisco, I've definitely seen dudes super running.
Yeah, like really. And he also kind of, I would attribute, I don't know what to call it. People have different terms. I'm going to call it hipster graffiti, because I don't really know what else to call it. Some people call it like anti-graffiti, like trying to look ugly, but like those guys pioneered that style, which was definitely not anti-graffiti. It was graph, but it was kind of hip and cool and loose and just different. It didn't have that same New York aesthetic necessarily. It had a very unique aesthetic, and they pushed it all the way. And like, I could just cite like hundreds of guys who bomb in peace now that are just doing what they can to replicate Orphan and US crew bombing from the mid 90s. No joke.
Influencers.
Yep, definitely. And it's a great thing. But 92, man. That was it. That was the start, and it was like off to the fucking races for me,
Yeah, definitely. The things you were doing in the mid 90s were awesome. Late 90s, all the trucks you were painting out there. I mean, it must have been a wild time running around. There were so many crazy people out there running around.
It was insane, bro. It was insane, dude. You would have been like a kid in the candy store beyond belief, because like not only was the city not prepared, the city, like they didn't have the ability, I think. I don't know how many cops they had. I don't know the cop to tagger ratio, but it wasn't good for SFPD in like 94. Especially when like I said, like 60-70% of my high school was tagging. And I know other big schools were the same way. Mission and Wash, a lot of those schools, they were just packed full of writers. Like it was insane. Like everybody had a tag, and everybody had an ultra wide that was juiced to fuck with Pilot ink. It was just like that smell of Pilot ink is like, it's a beautiful thing. Like if I ever get a whiff of it, it takes me right back to racking it from.
I'm still an avid user of Pilot ink.
Good, man. Yeah, dude. It's like it's beautiful stuff. But then, I graduated high school in 94. I had about like a year of trying to figure shit out there. 94, 95 was a little weird, like bombing wise for me. Like I was living at home. Then my mom, on my 18th birthday, my mom's like, you got to start paying rent. And I was just like, damn, okay. I wasn't going to go to college. I was working. I was making pretty good money too. She was like, yeah, I need that. Like, I forget what it was, $375 a month, something substantial, which I did for a couple of months. And then I was like, what? My boy was like, dude, we're up here in Oakland, Lake Merritt. They had this apartment in Lake Merritt. He's like, why are you paying? You could pay $400 for your room here. So that was an easy choice. I bounced.
Right. You're out.
Yeah, but I was still working at a restaurant in Palo Alto, so I was driving from Oakland to Palo Alto about 4, maybe 5 days a week. So that was kind of interesting too, because I started seeing parts of Oakland that I had never seen before on my own. And so when I started painting in Oakland, it was also kind of, actually, you know what? Oakland was scary as fuck in the 90s. They had a lot of cops. But interesting story. I lived in this apartment right near Lake Merritt. Well, right near the Lake Merritt BART station. And I come home one day, my 2 roommates are in the apartment with this guy who I had never seen. And they introduced him as Pac. And I was like, Pac, interesting. Like I didn't get at first that he was a graffiti writer and his graffiti name was Pac. But he wrote PAK from TDK. And he's basically Dream's I mean, in a way, Dream's protege. They probably had a lot of, they probably had similar age, maybe. Mike Dream probably was a little older. But anyway, dude, Pac lived right above us in this apartment complex and became friends with my neighbor. And so I meet Pac that day. And the next day I'm upstairs and Mike Dream is there. And so I met Mike Dream on like my second or third day living in Oakland, which is like, in a way, it's kind of like, oh, of course, like that could just happen back then. That the king, truly the king of California, in my opinion, is just, and I'm in his room, you know, it was fucking crazy. And I didn't really know the impact or the influence of Mike Dream at the time. I learned it pretty quick after, but that guy, shout out to another fallen writer, Mike Dream. He was the coolest guy who just opened himself up to a young toy like me, looked at my black book and was like, oh, no. He was like, he would call you like brethren or like brother. Like he was so familial instantly with me. And he just was, and I've heard this from some other kids too, that he just, I don't know, he was just so open and said, no, your letter here, this bar, you know, bubble, like you got to look on this shape. And he just like schooled me from the get-go, which, you know, it's like, I didn't ask for it and I was so happy to get it. So that's a funny little story. And that was my intro to Dream and Pac. Pac also passed away. Rest in peace to both of them. And so, yeah, like 96, dude, that was when I moved into my first apartment in Frisco. It was really 95, but it was like I wasn't settled and really bombing until probably winter 96, like January 96. And that's when I just made like this commitment to just all out.
Go all in.
That's all I wanted to do. I didn't care. Yep. Like I quit that job in the South Bay, in Palo Alto, that restaurant, and I started working at a bike shop in Frisco, which is where I met a lot of writers. And yeah, in 96, dude, that city was on fire. There were writers from all over the country, all over the world. They all somehow descended. I think they descended because of Barry McGee, because of Twist. I really think that he was the pulse of that city in a lot of ways, because he was not only so active and so up, and it had been many years of him being up, like at least, you know, probably I think 88 or 89 is when he really started going at it, and he was kinging shit by 95. I think everyone just wanted to be around him, you know, whether they knew it or not. So everybody just started coming out. And I mean, you know, I could go through the list of names, but you guys know them. You know who was killing it. You go look at Dave Schubert, like Evade's, you know, Instagram page, or that there's this page, Leg Sweeper. That guy shows a lot of Frisco mid 90s. You know who was there. It was all these kings, legends, you know, and it was incredible. And we were just there and we were just doing it. And I think I told you this story about this cycle that I got on where I worked in bike shops for a while, but it must have been late 96. I started working at this internet cafe, which I love saying internet cafe, because I mean, they do exist in some places still, but back then it was,
that's definitely
new, dude.
Of the moment time thing.
Yeah. And like 96, 97, like internet cafe, that shit was new. And so I worked at this one, and was called the Coffee Net. I just remembered that name. Someone asked me a while back, what was it called? I couldn't remember. So I worked at the Coffee Net. It was in the South of Market. And I opened up the cafe at about 6 a.m. and I'd work until about 1 or 2 whenever my shift ended. And I was living in the Excelsior. So I would bike from Soma to the Excelsior, and I'd go to sleep at like 3 o'clock. I'd wake up at like 8 or 9 p.m., pack up my bag with a bunch of paint and markers, and I would go bombing all night from like 9 or 10 until I opened up that cafe again at 6 a.m. And I did that repetitive cycle all of like 97, 98. At least a year and a half, I did that nonstop. I did not see much sunlight at all. And it was the best. It was the time of my life, dude. You know, we were just insane. We were animals, you know, we were climbing drain pipes, 3 stories. We didn't give a fuck about anything, dude. And just bombing, you know, and walking, like the whole lifestyle that we wanted to emulate from New York. I mean, we were doing it, you know, and I would argue that time in San Francisco, the lineup of talent there, the ability of the city to be bombed is like unrivaled, man. I know there's a lot that happened before the 90s in SF, but it was a particularly golden era, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, even the flicks still stand the
totally stand the test of time. I agree. And then, and you know, you mentioned this, just like roofs and walls and trucks and just everything, the stuff that you saw in hard copies, like that's just how it was. Like everything was wrecked. It was so beautiful, and there was just so much opportunity. And again, I think they were understaffed because I got bagged. definitely got bagged, but not as much as I should have been arrested doing blatant shit everywhere, So it was a beautiful time. That continued all the way up until, I mean, it was around the time that Ty died. And again, it's just like the deaths, man. And it was mostly violent deaths that were happening around us in the late 90s out there. It wasn't drugs like it is now.
No, it was a wild time.
Like Mike Dream got shot. He got stuck up for his gold chain, at I forget which BART station it was now. And Pac actually, I think, fell through a roof. So that was accidental. Ty got shot while bombing. He went into someone's apartment and the guy just shot and killed him, which was like totally, that really fucked me up. That, cause he and I were becoming good friends. And to see him killed like that was really hard. And Soap from BA, just, like we don't hear from him for a couple of weeks. And then he turns up in a burnt out building in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. No one had any fucking clue how that shit could happen, especially to Bill, who was he wasn't straight edge, but he was pretty darn, he wouldn't fuck with drugs. And he was in some burnt out crack house in the Lower East Side. So that's like total mystery, horrible, horrible death that like hurt a lot of us. So I started seeing all this death, bro. And the more you bomb, as you know, the more beef you get. I had beef everywhere I seemed to go in like 99.
It meant you were doing it right, buddy.
I guess, or I was just a fucking idiot who would paint over anyone. And that's probably closer to the truth because I felt like this is my city. You came here from somewhere else. I am going to paint over you. And I did that a lot. And then I got punched in the face a lot, and I had a lot of scraps that I wish I hadn't had and a lot of just drama, And so, but I mean, I knew it was par for the course. I knew that. Yep. But also, I think I probably started looking at my own actions for the first time around 99 after there had been, 6 or 7 consecutive deaths in the graph community, kind of back to back, no one was used to that. Like now, dude, it's almost becoming like, it's still shocking, but God, dude, it's like. It's
always jarring. It's always shocking.
But what's so sad, dude? It's like, it seems like because of our news cycle, the death of a friend, I don't know. It feels like it doesn't reverberate as long with as much importance anymore. Like when Dream died, that just reverberated for years out there because he was an absolute legend and a great person. And it was just like the truest form of tragedy. I mean, he was murdered. That's a real tragedy. So is suicide and so is overdosing. But, there's something different about when someone else fucking kills you. But yeah, I started seeing all those things happening, man. And it really forced me to kind of reckon with what I was doing. And I decided in 2001 to move to New York, really to...
Total change.
I mean, I wanted to get away from it all. I didn't know what that meant. I had a girlfriend at the time. We'd been together for a few years. And we were like, yeah, like we could use a change. And Frisco was getting mad expensive. And I think we had heard that Brooklyn was cheaper, which it was at the time. So yeah, dude, August of 2001, right before 9/11, we moved to my sister's apartment in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. She was actually in a brownstone and we moved. And like I bombed for a while, like most of 2001 into 2002, I was still just cause if you bomb for almost 10 years solid, but you can't just stop those muscles. Those muscles have memory. And they're just used to whipping out a juicy mop or a streaker or a can, So like I did, I hooked up with, cause I was KCW. I hooked up with my folks from KCW, like Setup, and had some other friends here. KYT guys were already here kind of doing it, O's, that dude Pac-Man, some friends of ours from Frisco were here in New York. So like I bombed and then, I don't know, 2002, everything just kind of changed in my life. And I just put down the cans, put down all the markers basically.
Pause.
Yeah, I did. I decided like when I moved to New York, cause I had been an actor as a kid, like before everything, like as a child, I was an actor. I did commercials and theater. And my sister was here working as a singer and she was having all this success. Like she hooked up with like the Fugees. She was like part of the refugee camp in the early 2000s.
Great.
So yeah, so she was like, she was doing shit. She was like Grammy nominated with Wyclef on one of his albums. Like she was having all this success out here. And I was like, okay, fresh change, try acting again or whatever, some sort of performance. Came here. It took me a couple years. Like I really just kind of, it takes a while to get your feet settled in New York City, I think, any big city.
That industry doesn't just fall into your lap.
Well, and that too, especially. And that was the thing. Like I thought maybe it could. And then I got here and I was like, oh, wait, all the good actors are trained. So, funny story now, but like in 2004, everything kind of fell apart for me. My 7-year relationship with my girl fell apart. She dumped me. I got fired from a bike shop I was working at. First time ever getting fired. I got my laptop crashed. Like all this shit happened at once in 2004. So I sold everything I owned except for a touring bike, and I bought a bunch of camping gear and I put it on that bike, and I bought a one-way ticket to London and went on a bike tour. And so I don't know if I've talked about that with you, but yeah, I biked from London to Morocco over, it was about 100 days, 3.5 months.
What an experience.
Oh, dude, bro. And I was just telling someone, and you'll enjoy it. Like I brought a whole bunch of jumbo pilots. I brought 5 black jumbo pilots as my like marking utensil to mark all over Europe, which it turned out to be kind of shitty because I kept writing on these dirty old walls. Like I could have streakers probably would have been a better choice. But yeah, dude, I biked like over 2,000 miles on that trip and camped the whole time. And, all through France, into Italy, into Spain, and then down into, Morocco. Yeah. And that trip was like transformative. Of course, anytime you're alone for 3 months, I promise you, go do that. You'll fucking come out a different human being for the better. And I went to drama school in New York City. And right when I got back in 2004, I started at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And so I studied theater for 3 years there. And when I graduated in 2006, I just like went into the theater world of New York City, trying to act and trying to do film and voiceover, all of it. Which it was good, I was doing it for quite a while. I met my wife doing theater, and in a production of Much Ado About Nothing. And we played like these two, the lovers who like create all the mischief in the play, Margaret and Borachio.
Shout out to my man Borachio.
Man, it was mad cool. I had long hair, so I got cornrows. I looked all cornrowed out, all kind of thugged out, all because it was for a theater company that did Shakespeare outdoors in this parking lot in the Lower East Side. So it's called Shakespeare in the Parking Lot to kind of rival Shakespeare in the Park, which is the big fancy one. And it was dope. I loved it, and I loved working as an actor. And it was in 2007 that my girlfriend, who's now my wife, she said, why aren't you painting every day? And I just had no answer. I was like, I don't know. Because she saw like my books, because I never stopped black booking. I should put that in there. In 2002,
you were always drawing.
Yeah, 2002 to 2007, those years, I never stopped drawing. I probably always caught little tags here and there. I mean, there was stuff like I helped out with the set design of a play when I was in the drama school, where I spray painted on these huge long blinds, like these leveler blinds, like a big portrait of Stalin in black and red. Like I used spray paint and markers and I drew graph, but I just didn't hit streets ever for those 5 years. But I never.
In those 5 years, were you pretty much on cruise control, doodling the same things you were used to, or were you trying new things out?
Totally trying new things. Yep. I was totally weirding out. I actually, I did a bunch of these like installations on. I lived in this huge loft on North 1st Street in Williamsburg in 2004 when I was going to drama school. And I just had all these really big concrete walls in my bedroom that I had a loft in. And so I started doing weird like collages on those with like wheat pasting images and spray painting and tagging shit. So I had like, in a way, I had like this fun, I haven't really thought about that in a long time. I had this fun sort of like studio-esque space where I could just, it was a cavernous warehouse. So I could spray for a long time in there, and there's no fumes. It was too big,
Cool.
And yeah, it was pretty fucking cool. Now that I say that, man, I need that again.
No, it sounds really cool.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I was trying new stuff, collage, just weird stuff. And I was acting every day. So like, I was learning about me and about, and just all the shit that goes into acting, which is a lot. And yeah, it totally informed my work in an interesting way. Or it informed my art, I should say. But yeah, 2007, I moved to Bushwick. And that's when my then girlfriend was like, hey, you should paint. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And so I remember there was one wall where I live in Bushwick that was two, actually. I'm sorry. There were two walls. And I want to say this for New Yorkers listening, because now we have the Bushwick Collective and we have all of these, NYC street art and spread art NYC. Shout out to all those groups that are doing, mural festival things, right? Collective things. But in 2007, there was zero. There was one wall that SP had a piece on. It was a post 9/11 piece, because there was like a big old American flag and the Twin Towers and like some subways as the background. And there was a beautiful SP piece. And then there was a ragged, horrible, probably, I don't know who he painted with, but a fucked up piece right next to it. And in 2007, I walked down and spoke with the owner and said, hey, can I paint over this, the tagged up, ragged piece? He said, yes. So I did this. I did a Mr. Sauce piece, because Sauce was an under that I played with for a while.
Mr. Sauce.
Mr. Sauce, yeah. And I still like Sauce as an under. But yeah, so I did a Sauce piece, 2000, and right on Wyckoff Avenue, which is now the heart of the Bushwick Collective. And I started doing several more. I probably had like, from 2007 to 2010, I got like 5 or 6 walls in the neighborhood, permission, walls. And I started that, whatever that was, comeback. I was telling you, I think that like, I thought about like 2007, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be a bomber. I'm going to get up too. And something just didn't feel right about that.
Yeah, the sciatic nerve.
Could be. Fuck, man, that's for real, dude. I just didn't have it in me to be a bomber, and I think
it takes relentless work and dedication.
And dude, in 2007, I had this like really nice loft in Bushwick, and I had a really awesome girlfriend who, I had no idea it would turn out to be my wife later, but I had this really awesome girlfriend who didn't want to see me get arrested. And I had a bunch of other things that were happening. I was like, shit, I want to protect this shit. And bombing just didn't equate. It really didn't. And I'll just be totally honest, and that may make me sound soft, whatever. I don't give a fuck, dude, because like I have told you in the past, like I did enough dirt. I put in a lot of work, and all that sweat equity is worth a lot to me. So I don't care if someone's like, oh, Adam Fu, he's a fucking street artist now, or Adam doesn't do that's. Yeah, totally. And like, I know that I catch tags here and there, but like, that's not what I'm all about, and I love bombing. I fucking love it. And I wish that there would be a way that I could just step out my door and be bombing. Actually, you know what? It's weird. When I'm in Europe, I'll just like, or if I'm outside of the States.
I was going to say, it sounds like we need to go on vacation.
Yeah,
bro.
dude, what is that? When I leave this country, I'm fully down to just wreck it, which is so stupid. But anyway, 2007, I just said, okay, I'll just start piecing. And I pieced around and, started meeting people. That was another thing. Like, I didn't know really any active writers anymore. That 5-year break, again, there was a lot of death. There was just a lot of people moving. Like the friends that I had here that were up were just sort of gone. So those like first few walls I hooked up in Bushwick, I was just painting them on the solo, just daytime, just standing there by myself, kind of sketcy too, early on, especially, because it wasn't all gentrified like it is now. And yeah, I don't know, man, I haven't stopped, right? It's been 10 years now. Been 10 years since the comeback or whatever it is.
Mr. Sauce Borraccio.
Mr. Sauce Borraccio from Shakespeare. Yeah, and I like I don't know, I just started meeting like more and more people out here, like that were kind of doing similar things. Like I didn't really link up with like the most bombing, most federal people out there. I was finding cats that were kind of like me, that were like, want to paint a chill wall, and didn't really care about what people thought, because they're like me, they have 25 years in the culture, and, I don't need to prove anything to anyone,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then what? Then you went, is this now while you're starting to paint these walls again, you went back to art school?
I did. Yeah, that's huge. Thank you. And so several things happened. 2010, I got married. That is a game changer for anyone who cares. I know some people get married and they're like, my life's not going to change. And I'm like, well, you're a fucking asshole. Because the whole reason I think to get married is so your life could change. You know, I wanted my life to get exponentially better. And I knew that the number one way to do that at the time was to sink my claws into my wife. You know, I grabbed onto her, man, with these talons. And I'm like, I ain't letting go. And so we got married in 2010. That was huge. And that, again, actually, for the first time, I had a conversation with another human about what my 5-year plan was, my 10-year plan, my 40-year plan, 50-year plan we even got to, right? Just like dreaming, you know, pie in the sky. And I'd never done that before. I had never thought, you know, I was like 30 something years old and I've just been living on fucking pure instinct, you know? So now I got a wife. I'm like, oh shit. I'm a fucking person. I'm a human being. All this. I'm a real fucking husband. You know, people rely on me, and people rely on you. That's interesting. You know, then we had a baby in 2014. And it was, before that though, in just thinking about having a kid, that I was like, you know, I want more. Also acting. What started happening for me was I was getting these like national tours of plays. So I would travel with a show. And like, I wasn't going to just be the next Broadway sensation. And I knew that. I wasn't like fooling myself, right? But I knew there was like a lot of ways to carve out a career as an actor in New York. So, but the one that I was going towards were these like kind of crappy national tours where you're driving around in a bus everywhere for like 6 months of your life. Or I would do regional theater. So I would fly to, I mean, it could be nice. It could be like go to Chicago and play the Killer Theater in Chicago, not Second City. There's a great regional theater there where everybody works. But
Steppenwolf Theater?
It could be absolutely. Steppenwolf is a really great regional theater. So that was what I was going to do. And I would be lucky to do that, to go and play for 3 months at Steppenwolf, or play for 3 months at Berkeley Rep, or play for 3 months at, the Guthrie, But what that was going to do, man, was take me away from New York and take me away from my wife. And I was like, that doesn't sound like the kind of marriage or life that I want. So then I thought, well, what else am I passionate about if not acting? And design came up. And so I didn't have an undergrad. I had like an associate's degree from the drama school. So I actually went back to I wrapped up a bachelor's degree in performance studies in like a year and a half. I had credits from all over the fucking place, like a semester at City College SF, a one class at San Francisco State, the academy training, and some other shit. And so I went to a State University of New York school where they just took all those credits and applied them into, again, I did like a year and a half of undergrad and got a bachelor's so that I could get into a master's program to study design. And that's what I did. And I went to the School of Visual Arts, Products of Design department, and studied product design for 2 years and got a master's degree in that. And like I mentioned, that bike tour to Europe as being life-changing. Grad school was totally fucking life-changing. Undergrad sucked. Finishing up that bachelor's degree sucked. I won't lie. But
brutal.
To be able, it just sucked. It wasn't fun. All these, like, I had to take college level geometry. It was horrible, but choosing a graduate school and like doing a thesis, which I did, like spending 2 years to like study something as important as product, that was very life-changing. And it kind of it showed me that I have like values, that I have a pretty good moral compass. I had no idea. Cause I did a lot of shady shit, man. But then I grew up and like, I was like, wait, there's terrible things happening in the world. And almost all of them, I kid you not, can be resolved in the early stages of design, if you have those designers there, but what often happens is you don't have designers. You'll have engineers and scientists and other people that are very useful. You got to have those people in the room too, but you need designers in the room to make.
Yeah. You always need a creative.
You need somebody creative, who can think outside the box, I mean, there's things like the levees in New Orleans, like those were designed purely by engineers. They didn't bring in any designers, and there has to be a product design influence there. I'm not saying that's the only reason the levees broke, but it's one of them. And I think there's a lot of huge problems that we can resolve with design. So anyway, I went back to grad school 2 years, graduated in 2016. And man, I was painting the whole time. All 2 years was still a part of I was out, I would paint every weekend. And the chair of my department, graffiti was part of my my application that I sent in. They wanted to see prior work. I showed a bunch of stuff that I made because I make stuff with my hands. And then I showed a bunch of graph and they just loved it. They were like, oh, you're into theater, you're into graffiti, and you make stuff. Yeah, we're going to funnel that all into one discipline, which was product. And yeah, it was cool, man. And he pointed out, Alan Chachinoff, he's a mentor of mine. He's the chair of that department. He pointed out that graph, I mean, it's more product. It's more product design than anything else. And I really was like, wow, really? Like I hadn't thought that graffiti on a wall could be a product, but it totally is.
It is.
We're used to thinking that our iPhone.
It's on you to grow the product.
Totally. Dude.
Learn how to manufacture it, how to patent it,
Yeah. Dude. And you know what, man? Like we're lucky as people that paint walls because we can put our products out lickety split. There's no regulations. There's no manufacturing. There's no channels to get your product from China here. It's interesting if you just paint walls. But so, yeah, dude, I graduated. I had a whole new outlook on life. And a lot of it was now kind of socially activated, which I grew up idolizing people like Spy and Dream, and those guys were incredibly political with all their graph. And that's a big part of Bay Area graffiti too, that I should kind of note is that protest is a big thing in the Bay Area in general. It's just the Bay Area is just known for that ever since it became a big thing in the 60s, anti-Vietnam stuff, pioneering from there. But like, there's always been protest in graph in California. So when I left, POD, Products of Design, I kind of thought, well, it just didn't feel right to keep just writing my name. I mean, I love doing an Adams piece, or now I'm doing these like Smota pieces, but like, I don't know. I felt like I felt like I could do more. And then it was the fucking election of 2016 that really, set off all the neon stuff, turned on the lights on the neon.
Yeah. No, you're really onto something with this. It looks like you're having a blast.
So much fun, dude. Holy shit. And totally limitless, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, so I should say that like I started, it was November, like a couple days after the election. Oh, which by the way, I had already started this podcast. I started this podcast in October of 2016 with ZMAD, Luis Lamboy. That was episode 1. Shout out to him for being right there. And November 8th, November 9th, I forget exactly the horrifying fucking day where this guy gets elected. But November 10th, I went to one of my spots that I had for years, and I did this Adams piece with these neon bars in it. And I wrote something like, keep the lights on DJT, or turn the lights on Donald J. Trump. And so there's like this idea behind the neon that it's keeping light. It's shining light on him and his regime and not letting them just fucking do their shit in the shadows. I mean, it turns out a lot of people are watching. A lot of people have lights on them, which is fucking great. But yeah, the root of all of this stuff has been political or social. I should probably say social because people are so freaked out about politics. They're really one and the same. But yeah, dude, it's kind of like, it's a blast. Like I said, I can see it going forever. I don't know. It's interesting when you kind of strike something that you're like, oh, this is something I can just keep doing, Yeah. It's rare. I think it's kind of rare. But
as we already see, there's people trying to emulate it and take their approach on it, and which is awesome because it keeps you at the forefront of being the main creative and bringing something really fresh and different.
I'm going to like take you up on that and be like, okay, cool. That sounds really good. Cause I don't, first, like I would love to just be able to put it on record that I am not the first person to paint things that look like neon, but I think the angle that I have that is different is that there is a social like vein to the whole thing. Or for the most part, I mean, I'm happy to do a lot of commercial work, by the way. You can hire me, but if it's my choice to do something in neon, I want to say something, I want to comment on all of this shit because there's just too much fucking horrible shit happening all around us, man. And I use it as an outlet for that too, because I have felt so powerless. I was talking with a good friend of mine who doesn't have a creative outlet, and she just is in a lot of pain at times because she has no way to get it out. And we're so lucky, man. Like whether we know it or not, we can go to a wall and just smash it and get a lot of stuff out, and it helps me even more when I can write something that's like a direct comment on him and his team and what they're doing and their policies and all the shit that they're trying to do. Or it doesn't have to just be about him, you know? I mean, I just did a piece the other day that was referencing the Vegas shooter, you know, at the Mandalay Bay. Like, I feel like there's so much to talk about, you know? And so I'm seeing the neon as a nice extension of my voice, which people probably don't want to hear anymore. But they're gonna hear it. I don't give a fuck. Damn, dude, we talked longer than I thought. Holy shit.
We did. You're good at what you do, man.
Down.
It just flows.
Well, no, I guess you know what, man? Like I've been excited about this. Really excited to. At first, when you said it to me, because it was many months back, you were like, "Oh, I should interview you for your episode." That was had to be 5-6 months ago, and I remember thinking, "Oh no, I don't want to talk about me, and I don't want to do it." And then the closer we've gotten to this, and now, I mean, maybe it's kind of is it egotistical for me to take episode 52? I don't think it is.
No.
Okay, good. Because I think it's really appropriate. This is my fucking shit.
I'm happy to have you as my guest for episode 52.
Yeah, dude. You know what, man? If you had a podcast, no matter what it was, you would fucking go viral, dude.
Man, I need a TV show with Fonte.
Oh, shout out to Nick Fonte. Yeah, dude, that would be insane. You guys together are absurd. It's ridiculous.
It's bad.
It's hilarious, though. You guys are great. But yeah, this is my show. And so why don't I be episode 52? Fuck it. You know, that's me. And you've got a lot changing now. Yeah. Like you had said,
kind of a turning point.
Mm-hmm, it is. And you know, I was transparent on episode 51 when I did a little teeny rant about our numbers are down and things are going to change. And I want to make sure people know it's not a slight to anyone listening or not listening. If you subscribed and you unsubscribed, I am not faulting you. I think that our podcast had faults, too many faults. And so we're going to work on those, you know, and I talked about some of the changes that are coming. So I'm not going to rehash that, but you know, what I do want to say is we're going to take a break right now. This is going to be a few more minutes and then we're going to take a pause for, I don't know how long. It may take 6 weeks. It might take 2 months because what I want to do is get it better. I want to get it tighter. I don't know what the word is yet, you know, like I feel like we put together a pretty professional product and yet it could be just better. And so, you know, one of the things I learned in grad school was prototyping, you know, you just put it out there, you know, the first 12 episodes that we did, they're rough. You're episode 7 and it's rough. When I go back and listen, I'm like, oh shit, I was using.
Yeah. Thanks. And our viewers, our listeners right now are like, wow, I love the clarity. Amuse's show sounds so good.
I'm sorry, man. But you know what I'm not sorry about is that what I learned in school was you make a rapid prototype and you put it into the world and you get it to people. And then you hear what's good and what's bad. And then you refine it. And that's what I did. I didn't want to wait any longer because I'd been waiting.
And more times than not, the longer you sit on an idea, the sooner you see someone else utilize
what it is, man. That's totally what it is, you know? And so, and even if that wasn't even a driving force necessarily, but that was a part of it, you know? And, but I mean, I actually, to be honest, man, I wasn't seeing very many people really honoring the culture with their podcasts. Shout out to Legends Thursday. I think that those guys did it right. And I really appreciate all the work that they did. And that podcast has come to an end. And, you know, it might be interesting timing because Legends is now gone. My Life in Letters is coming back. And, you know, we hope to get all of those listeners that are hungry for this content to come and subscribe to us. But so when you don't see things for, you know, a few weeks, couple months, know that we'll be back. Follow the page at My Life in Letters podcast. Also, we just ran a little contest giveaway and Amuse and I just gave out a pack, or we're about to give out a pack. And so also in that, I was asking everybody to follow at Alphabet Monsters.
Packs of cigarettes.
Don't smoke, kids. Smoking kills. But what was the point of that? We did a contest and so, you know, follow the page and you'll see at My Life in Letters podcast, the page that during the 6 or 8 weeks that we're gone, we'll still be putting out content to let you know how things are going. We're not going away forever. We're just going to revamp, refresh, make it better, make it more digestible. Maybe, I don't know what the term is yet, but hang with us.
Hang with me. Hang with me, man.
Bounce with me. Bounce with me.
Bounce with me over here, baby.
Bounce with me. Dude, you've been a good fucking host, man. You're a good friend. You're a good friend, dude. I'm lucky.
Hey, we'll do this again. Maybe we could like tag team someone on a show one day or something wild like that.
funky, fresh, dressed to impress.
Rapid fire question.
That'd be super fun. What does it take to get Merlot to
I'll be the JB Smooth to your Larry David.
Oh, that's a weird reference, but I'll take it, dude, because Larry David's funny and rich. Can we get, do you think Merlot will ever take over and interview somebody?
She's holding a big sign up in the background right now.
No,
absolutely not. She wants nothing to do with it. She's not a part of it. Oh, she's writing something. Sounds like Merlot's starting her own podcast soon, ladies.
Don't do it. She'll take all my fucking listeners. Dude, I got to thank you, man, again, for doing this. Actually, I'm sorry. It's your show. You should thank me.
Hey, Adam, I'd like to thank you. I'd really like to thank you for doing this. It's been lovely. I appreciate having you on my show this evening. No, it's a good time. I'm grateful you did this. I was grateful to be a part of it with my interview. It opened up tons of insights onto all sorts of people that I've looked up to or been friends with.
That's awesome, man. That's so good to hear.
Things about. I mean, there's so much about you still, and every person you've had on the show, man, there's 51 people behind you that all have so much more to talk about and really cool things.
Yeah.
Awesome that you've at least shed light onto a little bit of that.
Yeah. And I think that there's just, there's the potential for hundreds and if not thousands of more episodes because there's so many great writers and letter junkies out there to talk to. And so, dude, I thank you. And it's been a blast. Way more fun than I thought.
Thank you so much, Adam. Always love.
Word, man. Thank you. My Life in Letters is looking to grow and expand our team. If you think you're right to collaborate and partner with us, please drop us a line at either mylifeinletterspodcast@gmail.com or send us a direct message at our Instagram page at My Life in Letters Podcast. My Life in Letters is recorded live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, USA. Our sponsor is sprayplanet.com. Our producer is Christopher Piccioni. Our videographer is Jordan Miller for Way Up Creative. Our intern is Jessica Magar. Our theme music is by Fonte. And my name is Adam Fujita. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Peace.
The language of letters.